Teneby is with me, Common Camp, Twin Cities Orthopedic Performance Center, also known as the new Winter Park. Excited and delighted to be joined by Mike Smith. Mike, you can sit on my lap. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me at all. You know, as a linebackers coach, you probably want your linebackers sitting on the quarterback's lap, right?
We're making all moves close to the blocker.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks for joining us. You know, from what I understand, you started your coaching career in Hawaii. Why did you ever leave? I mean, it's Hawaii.
I love Hawaii.
It's paradise on earth, and then you leave, and now you're in the frozen tundra. What's that all about?
You know, I got lucky. You know, right when I got done playing, actually the Ravens had a cool deal. If you go to the Pro Bowl, you got to take your backup. So I backed up Ray Lewis, so he went all the time. So I had a free trip. I had flights, hotels, food, everything was paid for. So before that, I always went and loved it. And I was fortunate enough that my defense coordinator from college, Gregory Mackin, was the head coach there. So he found out that I got injured, and he got me into coaching. And as long as and as Mike Pettin did as well. So, but yeah, Hawaii, my favorite place to go.
Yeah, had you always wanted to go into coaching? Did you know that was something you wanted to do, or didn't you know what you wanted to do after you were done
At the time, I didn't. When I had that bad news, Rex, Ryan, and Pettin, they called me up to their office in Baltimore, and it was kind of a bad deal. They said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't know. Maybe go back to West Texas, get in the oil." That's what a lot of us do. So both of them said, "You'd be a fool not to get into coaching." And so what's kind of funny is I went back, and, you know, when something ends that you've done your whole life, right, and loved football and had passion for it, and all of a sudden it got taken away. I got in a dark spot, and Pet calls me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm laying on the couch." He said, because he told me when I left, he said, "You better get a job, coaching job." And he said, "You found one?" I said, "I haven't looked." And he laid into me. Really? And I'm sitting there thinking, like, hell, I ain't my position coach anymore now. But how the Lord works, 2 days later, Gregory Mackin called and said, "Hey, get started." Then 8 months later, I joined Rex and Pet in New York when Rex got the job, and there it went.
Yeah, and you've been kind of, you know, like radio guys, it's town to town, up and down the dial. I've been all over the place. Coaching, too, is the same thing. It seems like we look at it, every guest we get, especially if they're a coach, they've had, like, it seems 13, 14 different jobs. You know, you coach here, you coach there, you jump from place to place. You've had some travels, too. Does it ever get old, you know, the whole thing, coaching and traveling and everything?
No, I think you get used to it. Yeah. I think it's harder, obviously, on the family. You know, I got young kids, so it's not too hard, but not really, you know. I just enjoy what I do and enjoy getting players better and meeting new people, seeing new cities and new towns and places, but I'd say it's harder on the family.
How many kids? How old?
I got 3 kids. I got an 8-year-old, Weston, my son. He's meaner than a rattlesnake now. Yeah. You'll know one day. Maybe you playing linebacker at the University of Hawaii. You'll know it.
You need to use Minnesota analogies. We don't have rattlesness up here.
You know, what do y'all have? What's something Texas? Meaner than what?
Mongoose. No, we don't have those either. Bigfoot. Meat sauce, I guess we could say.
Meat sauce? Yeah. Hey, I hear some coyotes where I live sometimes.
Yeah.
But then I got 2 girls, too. I got Finley. She is 4. And then Kennedy, 6.
Yeah, so it keeps you busy too, right?
I do.
Well, it keeps Mom busy really more than anything.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to do.
Where in West Texas?
Lubbock.
Lubbock.
Most of my time in Lubbock.
Yeah. Is that near Lukenbach?
No, not even close.
You know, because there's a song by why can't I think of it?
Lukenbach, Texas.
Well, no, there's that, really? but Lubbock, Texas, in my rearview mirror by Mac Davis.
Mac Davis, great song.
One of the greatest songs of all time.
Of all time.
When I was spinning Hot Stacks of Wax out in Kemmer, Wyoming, that was one of the oldest we played. I would play it over to where the boss got mad. He goes, "That song's old. You shouldn't be playing it." I go, "But it's one of the greatest songs of all time." When it gets to the very end, when he says, "He's back,"
when I die, you can bury me in Lubbock, Texas, in my jeans. That's right, baby.
It's so good, man. It's one of the greatest songs.
That's the truth.
And Mac Davis was he was a really good entertainer. He had a show. He had hits.
Sure.
He also he starred as he played the character of Don Meredith in the movie North Dallas 40. Yeah, so Mac Davis.
Not only a radio guy, you're also trivia.
Yeah, I know trivia
and
everything. And I know movies better than anybody on the radio station, except maybe for that guy over there. What's this linebacking crew like that? Now, you're outside linebackers coach. Yes. Do you get to coach? Do you not talk to the inside linebackers now, or how does that work?
No, I am the outside guy, but we all work together. Okay. You know, it's really obviously 2 totally different positions when you really look at it, but. No, I got a great group of guys. You know, I brought Zidarius with me from Green Bay, which was great because we're going from obviously a 4-3 to a 3-4, and you know, when you have somebody in the room that knows how you coach, knows the drills, know what it's about, knows what I want, and then somebody his status that's had success and stuff. So it's good to have him. And then obviously Daniil. I mean, I've admired him for many, many years. I mean, he's just an unbelievable freak athlete. I mean, long, can scratch his ankles standing up.
Yeah,
I mean, that type guy.
Yeah.
And so he's that duo is going to be really good. And I got some guys that are going to shock a lot of people this year with Patrick Jones and DJ and some of these young guys are going to be pretty good. I got a good salty room.
Well, I think it was defensive coordinator Ed Donatello who was quoted as saying there can be quite an adjustment. That it's a lot different playing your hand in the grass or hand in the dirt than as a stand-up. He says it can take a while. Do you expect it with like a Daniil that it'll take him long? He seems like a pretty bright guy, but I don't know. You work with him every day.
Yeah, sure. No, it is a little bit of adjustment, but he's a smart guy and he's an unbelievable athlete. I do think sometimes we overthink things, I should say, and make it harder. Coaches do that at times, make it harder than what it is. Daniil's an unbelievable athlete. He's great in space. He can move. Dropping was a little bit new to him, but he is still better going forward than he is backwards. I'm not saying he's going to be dropping every snap, so it's a little bit of adjustment for that. But, no, he'll be fine.
Our guest is outside linebackers coach and pass rush
specialist.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
You got to be you're not just a pass rush coach, a pass rush
specialist,
which is big.
Yeah.
Mike Smith is with us. We had Eric Hendricks on here last week. How good is he? I mean, he's
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Got great instincts. Smart. You're talking about smart player. I mean, understands the game. He can rush the quarterback as well, which is great for when I look at protections and stuff because they got to ID him and he's a known rusher, so that can open up different other things. But and an unbelievable person like Daniil. I mean, you're talking about two guys that are just no egos and love ball and. They're fun to be around. You have players like that.
How does it work with the coaching staff working together? Because you've got an offensive coordinator, you've got outside linebackers, inside linebackers, defensive line coaches, secondary coaches. How does that all work together day to day?
Yeah, it has to work together. I mean, I always thought it was funny when you give up 400 yards passing, right, and they're blaming the back end. Well, the front might not got affected the quarterback, right? Or you give up 400 yards rushing, God forbid. That's probably a little lot, but they always blame the front seven, right? So everybody has to work together. So when we game plan and do all that stuff, we're all in the same room, back in the front end. What do we want to do to stop the run? It's going to help us with the back end coverage, vice versa, right? Better the rush, better the coverage. Better the coverage, better the rush. All that stuff ties together, but that's what good defenses do. Everybody has to be involved and have a say in it, and there's not one person.
Well, and I would think that, they always talk about the cohesiveness of the players on the field, and the coaching staff is probably pretty important too, because if you got guys on different pages, different philosophies, and don't really agree with, the defense coordinator's got the final say, I guess, or maybe the head coach, but when you're all kind of on the same page and work well together, I think that's got to be a big benefit.
Yeah, and really anything. I can tell you guys work good together. He's been smiling the whole time he's been back there.
We're a hell of a team. No, we really
but, when you're all on the same page and you're all working together and you love going to work, and
that's where we have problems.
Yeah.
We don't love going to work.
This guy back here is going to join us soon. Mark Rosen, the legendary former TV broadcaster. We hate each other, but we've been working together for about 20 years. But yeah. See, there you go.
Oh well,
yeah.
So how fun our staff is.
Yeah.
Greg lightens it up.
So Green Bay, obviously you're familiar with them, and that's Aaron Rodgers, the whole thing, and everybody's saying that's the toast of the town as far as the NFC North goes, and that's got to be when you're game planning for Rodgers and the Packers, got to be a handful.
Yeah, it is. But being there for the last 3 years, going against them all the time as we was,
Got a few tricks up your sleeve?
I got a few tricks, and you're still playing against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's still talking about one of the greatest of all time, and respect what he does. But we're coming after him, and that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
I'm
excited to play
with
that.
What's Aaron Rodgers' weakness? Why don't you just tell us?
I don't know if he has much of a weakness, but. We'll be ready to go. I promise you that.
In Green Bay, you obviously worked with Zadarius Smith, and we know the name, and we know the numbers here in Minnesota, and we know the accolades he's had. But can you tell us what makes him specifically, from a technique standpoint, a good player?
Yeah, it's funny. Well, we were talking about it earlier. I think coaches overthink things, and they try to do scheme up all this different stuff. And one thing that I love about Z and Daniil's gonna be the same thing is rushing inside. I think sometimes these coordinators let's do this exotic pressure and do all this other stuff. Well, how about I just get a front where you have to one-on-one Zadarius or Daniil, right? And so that's one thing that Z has gotten really good at is obviously rushing. And only can you rush on the edge, but I can put him inside and rush non-athletic guards or guards are usually a bit not athletic. And the same thing with Daniil. I think you're starting to see him now rushing inside, and he's getting fired up about it. And I think he told me yesterday, he's like, man, these guys aren't very, very quick. Exactly. That's why your butt's in there,
Yeah.
So that's one thing that Z does, and his toughness, and just who he is as a person. He loves football. He's mean, nasty. He's a good example in the room, and loyalty.
Well, that was another quote from Donatello in Star Tribune. Fish Wrap Factory Westside was saying how tough and rugged and physical it is in there, and that these guys they're cut out for it. Smith and Hunter, they enjoy it. All these guys, you don't play those positions if you don't actually like going toe to toe and butting heads, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, if they do or if they are soft like that, I usually don't want them in my room.
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, it's hard to find guys like that.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's a different game than when I kind of grew up and played with. And
How so?
Everybody talks about the kids have changed and all that stuff. But really, to be honest, it took me from having kids to realize it's not really the kids. The parents have changed, I think. They're allowing their kids to act like this, taking my kids to sports and seeing kind of stuff that's going on. But you just don't really find a lot of those tough guys anymore. So when you find one and, it's –
You got one right here.
I can see it.
I was born in Detroit.
You keep twitching that eye at me. I don't think I'm bite my ear off or something.
I was born in Detroit. Doesn't get much tougher than that. And then I know you probably don't know the Twin Cities area that bit, but you've got Anoka, Blaine, Coon Rapids, ABC schools. Yeah. About as tough as it gets. I mean, I'm a tough guy.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that from you.
I'm small, but I'm wiry.
Like a spider monkey or something.
I'm scrappy.
We have an entirely new defensive coaching staff and a new system. As of where you guys are at right now, the defense in general, are you further along than you'd hope from a defense standpoint? Are you maybe behind where you be? Are you right where you want to be? Generally speaking, with the defense, are you at where you want to be right now?
I think so. I think we're right where we want to be. I mean, I think Ed said the other day. I mean, I got good athletes in my room. Like we said, there's a little bit of depth, and they've really come along. And that's not me as a coach. That's them studying. I can only do so much and give them the material and all that stuff and really teach and sit down with them. But they got to go home and study and do their part of it. And I tell you what, they have. They studied their butt off all this summer. And, again, it goes back to the other older guys in your room. I treat them all equal when I'm in the meeting room, but they do also understand that Z and Daniil are also older and been in the league for 7 or 8 years, that they might be a little bit different on that part.
Well, you talk about athletes, and I think that's one thing I think I've noticed the change in football is, like, that's what they said about Daniil. They said, well, he's just a great athlete. He's tall, he's lanky, he's wiry, he's tough, he's physical, and that you can take a good athlete. I mean, that's why we see some guys, they really didn't start playing football until they're like a senior in high school or maybe in college, and all of a sudden they turn into a good player.
I don't think Daniil had a sack in college.
Yeah, because they are a good athlete, and that's more important than really almost anything, right? That's the number one thing if you got a good athlete.
Z didn't start playing until his senior year in high school.
Yeah.
He was a basketball guy, and he realized you really can't play basketball about 6'3". I think he was opposed to.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, well, you see that in a lot of sports. You see that a lot of soccer players, right? They start late in their career and some of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I truly believe, things just got to go to the right place. The stars got to line right up with players in the NFL. You got to be in the right system, the right coach, and things just got to go that way. I see a lot of good players that don't make it. Was it bad coaching? Was it just not in the right fit? So everything has to go right, I think, for players to have success in the NFL.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. Good luck to you this season, and maybe a long one, maybe some postseason play in January.
They call you the common man, I hear.
Common man, the average man. I'm the best of the lousiest of the best. I was bitten by a radioactive program director. Ouch! Westerman bit me, and I became the common man. It pays the bills.
Dan the common man. I'm Mike the working man.
You're the working man. It's a pleasure.
That's a great song. Larry Fleet, listen to it.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
There he is. He's Mike Smith. He's the outside linebackers coach, pass rushing specialist, and he knows Mac Davis just like I do from Lubbock, Texas, in your rearview mirror. We'll break. We'll come back. Mark Rosen joins us next. TCO Performance Center, the new Winter Park. It's Common at Camp.